In this episode, even the NPCs call me out for my driving. We're gonna need new undies, and our crotches aren't what they used to be.
What's happening? Is Wei giving birth? Why is his crotch not the same?
I'm so sorry for this one. Thank you for coming back from our replay reviews. My name is Leah.
And my name is Kathy.
We are two friends who are here to replay, review, and analyze your favorite video games. And since Kathy has never seen the games before, it helps me view them through her fresh eyes, almost like I'm discovering them again for the first time.
We hope it'll be a similar experience for you.
Alright, so in scene 1, Jackie is getting ripped off by one of his business partners, who turns out to be Naz, and asks Wei for help. After confronting Naz, Wei kidnaps him and brings him to Tang.
You're on a motorcycle and this guy just flies out of the way and you weren't even close to him. All these NPCs are either like asking for it to get hit or they're just like too much distance apart, yet they're still freaking out.
And somehow the motorcycle is easier to drive, which I feel like is a red flag for a game that has driving in it. If the motorcycle's easier, something's not right. But as we're pulling into the police satellite office thing, Naz is banging on the trunk asking to be let out and says, "Let me out of here! I fucking shit myself!" Why would you admit that? Why would you offer up that information?
Trying to get sympathy and hoping they'll give him a new pair of undies?
So the new case for Tang, it seems that there's a serial killer targeting triads. The PD's not doing much about it because they're criminals. And then Wei has a line here where he says, "So what, they're not people now?" I feel like you might have thoughts on that line.
I think this is the part where Wei probably is starting to have more disgust with the way HKPD is running their business because they don't see whether they're good people or bad people. And this is also why he's constantly getting in arguments with Raymond, because he feels like Raymond doesn't have any humanity, whether they're good people or bad people. So it's just going to make Wei hate on the police even more.
I agree. It's a pretty good indicator that he still sees the humanity in them. And I think if you're not on the inside like he is, you're just not going to see that. And then we'll keep tabs on this moving through the scene, but anything before he starts investigating? Okay, so he goes to where some bodies were discovered and finds out that the victims all show signs of surgery having been performed on them, which then leads him to the hospital. But before we get to the hospital, he calls Tang to tell her all of this and that he knew one of the victims. Going back to what we were just talking about, Tang responds, "I'm sorry, I know he was your friend." There's just a huge difference in Tang and Raymond, and I think that's why Wei gets along with her so well. It seems like she actually understands his perspective in all of this, whereas Raymond is just so focused on keeping him in line.
Empathy really goes a long ways. Obviously, I don't know if the difference is because Raymond saw some dark things and made him lose faith in humanity, versus Tang probably is doing more the admin types of work and less undercover, and that's why she's able to be more human.
Wei now gets to the hospital, and he's walking in the halls, and this is where we hear two NPCs talking.
What do you have right now?
Another hit and run. Poor guy got thrown right across the road.
What's wrong with the drivers these days?
And I just know they were talking about me. I just know
I
it.
was about to say that too. Part of it's just people are just jumping out of the way when you have a lot of space between them and you, so it's not quite your fault. But other times, you're throwing yourself onto cars and freaking people out, so...
They deserve it, though. They're being chased. After being roasted by these NPCs, Wei accesses a computer and finds out that a Dr. Tsang? How do you say it, Kathy?
How do you spell it?
Tsang.
I don't know how to say it the English way, but in Chinese it's Zhang.
Just take the accent off of it.
I don't know how you
does
pronounce...
Wei say it?
I don't know.
He says Sang. Wei
saying?
says sang.
Is the T silent? Honestly, I'm Chinese and I don't even know this. Hold on, I'm watching a YouTube video. His voice is way too, I don't know, seductive. Hold on, totally side tangent, but I need to share this with you.
Make sure to stay tuned until the end of the video to learn more. Chang. Chang.
I
is
don't
how it's
like
said
it.
in Mandarin.
I
This
don't
part.
like it.
Generally pronounced.
I don't
rather
like how
as
close he is to the mic. It's like he's in my ear.
He sounds like he just woke up and he's still under the covers in bed recording this video. How did he get here?
I don't know. We were trying to figure out how to pronounce Zhang.
We are
Ugh,
looking at
I just
how to
accidentally started
pronounce.
playing again.
Anyway,
Okay, so Zhang.
I'm gonna say sang because according to the
Okay.
game, that's his name.
Okay, that works too.
He's been doing kidney transplants. So Wei plants a bug in his office and then hacks into his safe, which provides some information showing that he's been meeting with an 18K Red Bull. And Wei deduces that he's killing Sun On Yi to get transplants for 18K members. Risky business here, Doctor.
Yes. So with the black sorry, I'm messing that up.
The black market.
Morgan. I was gonna say Morgan. And then it was
The Black Morgan Arkin.
Okay, so with the black market kind of situation, I bet they're taking the organs, stuffing them with Special K, planting them into other people's bodies, and using them as drug mules. And I think that's what's going on. It's a serial killer slash drug mule operation. That's where my mind went. I know it's like totally not storyline, but can you imagine a sub story being that kind of situation?
That
I
would
left you
draw
speechless.
so much more attention to the operation, leaving all these.
I know, right?
I think they're just trying to save 18K members while also killing Sun On Yi, 2 birds, 1 stone. Doctor makes a good profit. I don't.
I mean, yeah, but that's kind of lame. That's a boring storyline. It should be like drug mill operation.
But you're really like into this drug muling.
Oh gosh.
This isn't the first theory you've had.
At this rate, the NSC is going to come knocking on my door.
You're on a list. On his way out of the hospital, Wei gets a call from Tang. So Wei fills her in on what's going on, but he's practically shouting all of the information still inside the hospital, and it drives me crazy.
Not very subtle.
The bug works, and they now have Sang in their sights. But the next donor on the list to be captured is one of Wei's friends, Calvin. Wei has to save Calvin without letting Calvin see him, otherwise he'll know he's a cop, so he hijacks the car that is currently keeping Calvin as a hostage, and then leaves it hidden for the police to find and free him.
Well, right here, we're watching Wei do things that he probably shouldn't be doing, like saving his friend. And this is why Raymond's saying that he's too emotionally invested, because if it was any other person, he probably wouldn't have done this. But he's starting to compromise his own identity. And there's the question of how many people can he save before he screws himself over.
It's interesting that you say that, because I said, is Wei balancing out his bad and good deeds? Because he's done things like deliver Johnny to Mrs. Chu, but then he's doing things like taking down Popstar, taking down Hotshot. Is that why he's still why he's offering help to Tang still? Is he trying to balance that out and maybe feel a little less guilty?
I think it's just him trying to not get in trouble and doing what he needs to do so he can continue to be part of this group and help his friends from the inside.
So are you thinking that he's fully triad then? That's where his loyalties are at this point?
Not quite. I think a bit further into the episode I'll think that, but as of this very moment in the game, no. This game is making you crack way too many codes just to progress the game. Like, holy cow.
I know. It's like Mastermind. I loved that board game. Anyway, moving on to scene 2. Speaking of mastermind, the mastermind behind the wedding attack is revealed. So Wei visits Mrs. Chu again, who reveals that Johnny eventually outed Dog Eyes as one behind the wedding massacre. And I have questions. Because last episode, it seems like Uncle Po didn't think Dog Eyes was behind it. So what are we thinking about Dog Eyes being responsible for this at this point?
This is the first time where we see that brotherhood doesn't quite last. Hear Mrs. Chu talk about how, like, I know Dog Eyes, he used to be part of the family kind of situation, but people change. And this is a theme that we're starting to see. People change and loyalties change. I'm not surprised because those who know you best are the ones who have the most weapon to hurt you. And Dog Eyes knowing that family has what he needs to hurt him. So I'm not surprised in that way, but I am surprised that he's going to be that stupid, especially being so low on the totem pole. But it also, if it succeeded, he'd go up pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's the totem pole thing that you brought up that really confuses me, because I feel like he's definitely not high up enough to order something like the wedding attack. So did it come from someone else, or was this more of just a getting to Winston thing and it just got carried away and Uncle Po was shot? I don't know, but it seems like someone else above him is maybe involved. Either way, it was dumb. Mrs. Chu does ask Wei to bring Dog Eyes to her. And it seems like she even feels responsible for, I think she says, pushing Winston. Does she mean, like, fueling the feud between these two?
I thought her speech was a way to say that I feel terrible that he's dead because I was okay with him going down this route. That maybe if I stopped him earlier, he wouldn't have died because he wouldn't be part of the triads. But I also think that this is where we continue to see Wei being really attached to this family, because all of a sudden Winston's mom's treating him like a son.
I feel like Wei's checking in on her because of what Winston told him, like, if I die, you have to take care of my family. So I do think, yes, he's, like, part of the family now, for sure.
You know how bloodthirsty I am with everything that's going on? I am irritated that Dog Eyes was constantly taunting Wei about his sister. So I kind of like the consequences, like karma. I mean, although a lot of it wasn't even karma, it was just pure vengeance. And also, like with Big Smile Lee, you have to ask, like, how powerful is it that his name is constantly being brought up into conversation?
So what you're talking about is when Wei catches up to him and he's saying, I didn't put the needle in your sister's arm. It's just business. And then references that he was doing that for Big Smile Lee, essentially, getting women hooked on drugs for him.
I don't think we've met him at this point in time, but his name keeps coming up.
All right, so eventually Wei is able to bring Dog Eyes into Mrs. Chu, and she proceeds to try to feed him, I believe, an ear that belongs to Johnny. Am I wrong?
She's into making cannibal soup.
I'm curious how long that stew has been cooking, because I don't feel like it was yesterday when we brought her Johnny. I think she's torturing him until he gave Dog Eyes up, and then she decided to make a soup. And then she tries to feed it to Dog Eyes, but he refuses, and so then she adds some additional protein to her stew. Is this a fitting end for Dog Eyes, Kathy? Kill him?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, never mess with a triad member's mother.
Especially when she has a cleaver in her hand in every single scene. Wei is covered in blood, but as soon as he gets home, his t-shirt is pristine again. I don't think you can get that much blood out of a white t-shirt.
He has plenty to spare at this rate.
Anyway, he's like laying down in bed and thinking about, and I think he's hearing about what just happened like he normally does, except he's awake this time. And then my question is, why is he saying he's acting like this really got to him? But he knowingly delivered Dog Eyes into this situation. And I would even say, based on the conversation he had in the car with that guy, he kind of wanted it. So why is he acting this way? Is he just feeling guilt as a police officer, or...
That's it. That's what I think it is. He's just not fulfilling his duty as a police officer, but fulfilling his duty as a friend of Winston, like a brother of Winston. Like, he's having to balance his identities. When he sits down and he has a moment to think, that's when it's catching up to him, because he's obviously not thinking about it during the day when he's in action. It's when he has time to sit and think that he's realizing he's probably screwing up his chances as a police officer.
I wonder if it's also not just because he's doing it for Winston, but because of Mimi, that he feels like he kind of did this for himself too. So maybe he's seeing himself more as triad than police in this situation. Moving on, Wei is summoned to the hospital for a meeting with Uncle Po. Others are gathered as well. Pockmark, I think Big Smile Lee, right? Is this the first time we see him?
Yeah.
Jang, and Tuchins.
Pretty accurate for Tuchins. I feel like Big Smile Lee, with that kind of scar, it's like a taunting nickname that he can't really smile.
Yeah.
Or maybe he used to smile so much then he got the scar.
So they're being tasked with selecting a temporary chairman. And Uncle Po first tells Wei and Big Smiley to stop fighting. So I think he's kind of getting irritated at all of this, especially since he almost died. What's up with Uncle Po right here? Does he still not believe that, like, Dog Eyes, Big Smiley are responsible for the wedding attack? Because if he did, wouldn't he have, like, killed Big Smiley at this point?
I don't think he wants to kill anyone quite yet, because it's just going to probably mess with the balance or set up a bad example.
I think my confusion, which I've had the whole time, is, was the point of the wedding attack to kill Uncle Po? Or did he just get shot on accident? Because I feel like if the point was kill Winston, kill Uncle Po, then Uncle Po would not want to keep the people alive responsible for that. I don't know if Uncle Po was actually an intended target at all.
I'm starting to think that maybe Dog Eyes, his only purpose was to kill Winston, and someone saw that as an opportunity to sneak in to kill Uncle Po without it tracing back to him, and Dog Eyes would take the fall for it. But it failed. It was like a side mission to kill him.
Okay. I think at the least, Uncle Po doesn't know that they were responsible. Anyway, he's just not telling him that. But yeah, still a little bit of confusion on that incident, but Uncle Po wants Wei to be officially initiated into the Sun On Yi and make him a Red Pole.
Wei becoming a Red Pole is just going to continue to solidify his loyalty with them and less with the police and his undercover work.
After being told that he'll be made a Red Pole, Wei is informed that his initiation task will be to make an example out of a traitor who flipped to the 18K, which I'm pretty sure means kill him. Wei plans to also bring Jackie along with him so he can be formally initiated as well. And then, after that, the conversation steers back towards who should be a temporary chairman.
Before anyone else could say anything or finalize their thoughts, Sister Jane just steps in and says that, oh, we should have Uncle Po's nephew be the one to take over. Definitely other people are unhappy with this decision, but she's definitely setting his nephew up for failure while trying to solidify her alliance with Wei, just to make sure that their pathway is a clear path without people stepping in.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing. And I think she might be the only character that actually can pull one over Uncle Po like that. So the meeting ends with Tuchins being the temporary chairman, and then Wei goes to pick up Jackie for the initiation, and he tells Jackie, hey, you're in now. And Jackie at first is like, hey, don't worry, man, your turn's coming up. And that's when Wei says that he's actually been made a Red Pole. And I have to say that Jackie is so cool for being happy for Wei. When he brought him in and he's been part of this way longer and he got made a Red Pole so quick.
And I do have a lot to say about Jackie's character, and I'm kind of nervous for him at this point, which, yes, I agree that he's a really good buddy for not being jealous. I am worried that why does he even have the skills to succeed, or is Wei going to unintentionally set him up for failure? Because if Jackie was great, he would have already been a Red Bull, but he's not. And he's just pulling him into something that's way over his head. He shouldn't be doing that to Jackie when, in the end, he's going to betray him. Like, you're still a police officer, and he's still a triad member.
Right, you're bringing him into the thing that you're trying to take down. That's, yeah, a little backhanded. But things do get pretty hairy during the initiation when the target pulls a gun on Wei and Jackie shoots him. He's, number one, very clearly affected by this, but I have to say how much I appreciate this moment because of how fast it happened. Usually moments like this in a game, a movie, a TV show, it's all drawn out with the bad guy, like, just pointing the gun, building suspense, and it goes on forever. But this happens so quick where Jackie just has to shoot him quickly or else Wei dies.
It's realistic. I appreciate that too, and I also appreciate how they make Jackie nervous, because I don't think we've seen or heard about Jackie killing someone or hurting something, so it's pretty realistic that he's going to be shaken up.
It seems like Jackie just grew up around this, but doesn't really realize how serious it all is until maybe this moment. Anything before we get to the little induction ceremony?
No. That's where my next note is.
All right, I'm sure you have the same note I do. Anything before the betray your brother line? Is that your first note?
Yeah.
Yeah. So whoever's leading this is basically going through the whole ceremony, and one of the lines is, "Betray your brother and you will die 1,000 times over." And I know you saw Wei's reaction when this part's recited.
Uh-oh.
It's too late to turn back now.
Wei's gonna feel so much guilt when he has to take them down. And I'm wondering, a potential outcome of all this is he's going to stick with this group and not betray his brotherhood. I don't think he can survive the guilt that comes with betraying his people.
And I think we've touched on it before, but the difference this time is he actually knew these people going into it, like he grew up with them. It's not just the, if they find me out, I'm going to die a horrible death. I think it's also what you've been hinting at, that he actually likes these people in some aspect, and there's guilt and fear. Raymond summons Wei, and he admits that he's impressed, as is Pendrew, who wants Wei to now get information on someone named Sunny Wo, who's not Sun On Yee, but he supports them.
So Raymond then asks Wei where Dog Eyes is, not really directly, but saying that, oh, he's disappeared, do you know where he is? And Wei just straight up lies to Raymond to his face that he doesn't know what happened.
Yeah.
And that's then you're having even more distrust between the two of them. I mean, Pendrew and Raymond have done nothing to strengthen their connection. But also, Wei is way too protective of this group of individuals.
Right. I noted this exchange too. And like you said, he very quickly, without hesitation, says, "Haven't heard a thing," and brushes the subject off entirely. But I think Raymond knows that Wei knows what happened. I'm not sure if he knows how directly involved Wei was with his death, but to your point, how far across the line is Wei gonna go? Seems like a big line was crossed here, and Wei is now like 70% triad, 30% cop. I don't know, where would you put him in a percentage right now?
Honestly, I'd put him 85% triad, 15% police.
And what's not going to help is Raymond telling Wei that they're going to take Jackie in because he knows a lot, and it sounds like they think he'll be easy to make him talk. Wei's very unhappy with this, and they end the meeting on a very sour note. Anything else before scene 4?
Nope, but you did write in your summary, Jakey. Jakey gets arrested.
Jackie. has a lead, and he and Wei head out to take it on. And on the way, we learn Jackie is still pretty worked up over the initiation incident and hasn't been sleeping well.
I think overall, the more conversation that Wei has with Jackie about more in tune is just going to ruin him when either Jackie dies, which I'm convinced he's going to die, or he's going to have that look on his face of complete betrayal. If you're away, would you rather watch Jackie get arrested and be protected under the police custody, or let him continue to roam free but possibly die because he's not cut out to be a triad member?
I think it's a little different. I think he's very unhappy that they arrested Jackie, but I think he knows if he ran out to stop it, he's dead. His cover's blown, he's fired. So I think he's sort of just stuck. His position has just gotten to a point where he can't do what he wants either way because it's starting to get to a point where he'll die. So Wei will soon get a text from Ricky who wants him to come to K-Bar. And Wei's irritated at first because Ricky sort of stood him up. He's not at K-Bar. But then Ricky calls him, and it turns out the 18K are trying to kill Uncle Po.
I mean, they're just going for it.
They really are. So does this help answer our question from before? Were they trying to also kill Uncle Po at the wedding too? Shouldn't Uncle Po have seen this coming?
For a man that's smart, you would have constant protection all the time.
Yeah.
So why is he not protecting himself and playing defense in this kind of situation?
Yeah. That's the same question I have, and I'm just now wondering if he's just trying to preserve the triad altogether, at the cost, potentially, of himself. Anyway, after a very intense shootout alongside Wei, Ricky expresses distaste for how the triad has changed.
Here we have another conversation about the brotherhood and betrayal. It's just, there's a code that no one adheres to. At the same time, I'm wondering if the reason why the brotherhood is starting to fall apart is because of all the police infiltrations that we know Wei's not the first of his kind to do undercover work. Other people have done it before, and maybe that's why it's ruined in their generation.
Right, just that doubt, like we saw in the last episode, or 2 episodes ago, when they thought Wei was a cop. Maybe there's just a lack of trust in general. So Wei and Ricky have to escape the police, and afterwards they're talking about what all just happened. They think someone is pulling strings to gain control of the triad. I think Wei's line is, lots of people stand to gain if Uncle Po never leaves the hospital.
It wouldn't be surprising if people like Big Smile Lee try to take over, or Sister Jing, because if Uncle Po dies, there's going to be a lot of civil war happening. So the police gain if Uncle Po dies. Right now, if Uncle Po survives, though, I don't think anything is going to go bad.
Moving on to scene 5, Ricky calls Wei to meet a celebrity, King, and also Sunny Wo. This is when we meet him, too. So Wei arrives. We see a meeting between these two, the celebrity, King, and Sunny Wo. And Sunny's offering up some woman to King a little too forcefully. Initial reaction to Sunny?
He's gross.
Agreed. He asks Wei to show King a good time around town. So on the way to K-Bar, Wei and King are talking about Sunny, and they have similar reactions to him that we do. They don't like him. They don't like him at all. After talking crap about Sunny, they arrive at K-Bar. Wei has to gather some ladies for King.
And he does it in a really awkward way because Wei is flirting with the girls, but it's quite disturbing. And then Ileana's face is pretty weird. What have they done with the NPCs?
You mean Ileana?
Oh. It's a weird voice with a weird face.
And also weird clothes, like that vest thing. What is that?
Yeah, a lot of questions about how they make these female characters.
Ugh, I can just feel the wedgie from those shorts.
So what's up with Wei's singing? It's so bad. What's up with this voice and everything?
You mean just when I mess up?
No, it's just in general. His voice is so terrible when he's singing.
I don't know.
That whole
I think
scene.
the voice actor just doesn't have the voice for this song, which I had to pick this song, Air Supply. Because do you remember that infomercial from way back? It was always on late at night.
For what?
It was, I found it, Time Life Classic Soft Rock. And the whole thing is like
Time Life.
hosted by the two guys from Air Supply. Circa 2006, Kathy. I remember many a nights
Hold on, I'm Googling it.
after the real TV stopped. This is what was on. It was always this.
Oh my god, this is familiar.
Can we still buy it?
Do it, buy it. Money back guarantee, Aaliyah.
Someone, the top comment. My wife and I used to watch this when we had no money because we couldn't afford cable. I was 17 years old, always going to sleep to this infomercial. See, I'm not the only one. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's why I chose it. Back at Sunny's, it sounds like the her from earlier is involved with or dating Ricky. Her name is Vivian.
He's a pig.
I have that in my notes.
Oh! We're on the same wavelength.
Yep. But anyway, her is Vivian, I believe a musician who King is here to produce for. Wei is sent to go pick her up. And according to Sunny, he can sleep with her if he wants to. I have a note here of something I was going to point out to you, but I'm waiting to see how long it takes you to notice it, if you ever do. So I'll just have to see if you ever bring it up or not.
Okay.
Anyway, did you see at 1 hour 23 and 35 seconds, did you see me causing that guy to crash? He panicked so hard.
Oh yeah. And he does it so slowly too.
I know. And then you'll see again at the end of the scene where they're talking with the girls. He's still stuck. It's at go to 124:55 and look in the background.
Oh yeah.
The wheels are spinning. He doesn't know what to do. So we drive away. What is her name? Sandra? Is that the other woman?
Yeah.
She wants to go to a street race. Wei challenges some guy that Sandra seems to know. And he bet the women. He bet the women. He says, if you win, I'll let you take the girls home. That seems so not like Wei.
Right? I wonder, like, this was a sudden change in his character, and I don't know where it came from. I mean, like, he just met Sunny. Like, he can't possibly be like him already. And then the other guy starts to continue to insult, saying that the girls aren't worth much. And the girls are pissed. And Wei doesn't do anything to help defend them. Come on, Wei, do better.
I feel like he's just showing off for Sandra. And she's the type that goes for that, I will say. She seems to be, but
Yeah.
still, Wei, come on. Disappointed. We do win the race, but do you think Ricky's going to be mad about his car? It's completely trashed.
If Ricky doesn't even care about his girlfriend and lets people talk about her like that, I doubt he's going to care about his car. And if he cares about his car, he obviously doesn't have his priorities straight.
He'll probably just be happy to have a reason to buy a new one. Wei meets with Jang, who is worried that Two Chins is getting a little too attached to the temporary role of chairman. They are worried that Big Smiley might kill Two Chins, and then that would leave them in a very bad spot. So Jang is going to send Wei to mess with Two Chins so that he steps down on his own.
Which is exactly what needs to be done if she wants to rise to the top. And she's very smart to keep her hands clean so it doesn't trace back to her. But it's also not causing a whole civil war because she's doing it in a subtle way.
The only issue that I have is with Wei. The reason that they think that they can pull this off is because Two Chins he's addicted to drugs. And I feel like Wei doing this, it's like he's preying on an addict. And after what happened to his sister, how do we feel about him doing this?
I thought he crossed the line with doing this is that, one, he shouldn't, knowing what happened to his sister, so he's kind of no better than Dog Eyes and the other people. But two, isn't that violating some sort of ethics that police officers have? I just feel like it's crossing the line.
Yeah, I feel like it's crossing a line in pretty much every sense. But this old guy, old salty crab, his commentary throughout this scene.
What? You never heard of a grand massage? Like a real one, not a sex one? Wow, you're pretty and talented.
What?
I said pretty talented.
Oh.
It's too much.
And then he says,
Turn the piano so it faces the wrong way. I help, but I pull my crank climbing over the wall. Hi la, my crotch isn't what it used to be.
he says, my crotch isn't what it used to be. That is so wild and vile.
I had that quote down. And unnecessary. Like, why is he telling Wei and us about this? Why are the writers writing this type of quote for us to hear?
Crotch isn't what it used to be. Well, what did it used to be? My goodness, you can lift pianos with it? Also, I feel like they used the same boob jiggle animation on Tuchin's stomach. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was going to say, why is he wobbling instead of walking? He's just jiggle, jiggle.
I feel like they just enlarged one of the boobs and threw a shirt over it and made it Tuchin's stomach.
I mean, his stomach is the equivalent of two boobs into one, a uniboob.
After escaping Tuchin's property, Wei gets a call from Jang. Uncle Po is officially dead, and they agree things could get complicated.
First of all, before I even get to that, why was Wei's voice so gentle talking to Jang? It's like, oh, okay.
I know.
Miss Jang, how are you?
Yeah, I noticed that too. Does he have genuine, respect and care for her, or is he just buttering her up?
Yeah, I think he actually likes her. Like, not in a romantic way, but, respects her, but likes her as a person. But that voice is not the right type of gentle, it's like seduction, like about to call her babe kind of voice.
Jang, how are you? Wait, calm down. And the difference between that and then betting the women in a street race.
Yeah, what?
Wait, what are you doing this episode?
This guy is a very complex man.
He sure is.
Anyways, back to the point of the breaking the news that Uncle Po is dead. I think Wei is going to know the truth, but hide it from Pendrew and Raymond. Maybe he'll tell Tang, but I don't think he's going to tell the other two.
I don't think he's very inclined to give them any information other than what won't get him fired at this point.
He's definitely more loyal to Jing than to Pendrew or Raymond.
Any other notes on this episode, or do we need to close it out?
I think we should close it out. We've been recording for an hour and a half.
We'll finish it up next time. Last gameplay section.
Okay, Audacity on 1, 3, 2, 1.
Thank you for listening, and don't forget to send in any questions, comments, or game suggestions. You can find all our contact info on our website, replayreviewspod.com, or contact us directly through our site.
Did we completely miss something? Are we way off the mark? Or you just want us to take a deeper look at anything from the game? We'll tackle any topics you all want to hear in our season wrap-up episode.
We also have a Reddit where we discuss anything we're curious about. Go take a look and let us know what you're thinking. Our theme music is Condemned by Eggy Toast. They'll play you out, and we'll be back next week.